First, Markus and Juliana, very welcome, and I'm very grateful that you take your precious time to talk with us about sustainable tourism. First, we will show you a map so you can see where our guests are from. They are from Brazil, and it is located in the state of Bahia. So you can see where Markus and Juliana are living. Markus is a German photographer, an author, speaker, and environmental activist. And his wife, Juliana, is the owner of the Fazenda Almada. It's a little paradise. And she also produces cacao. Yeah. In the next hour, we will talk about the Mata Atlantica, the Atlantic rainforest, which is a fascinating but only a patch carpet preserved ecosystem at the home of our guest. First, in this hour, we play also a little quiz. Then Juliana introduce her farm. I ask them questions, and in the end, like I said, we discuss a little bit. So when we think of Brazil, we think about the Amazon, the swarms of the Pantanal, big cities like Rio or Sao Paulo. But Brazil is also the world's largest exporter of soy, and the cultivation of cacao is important for the economy. Juliana, can you be so kind and introduce to our guests your authentic place to stay?
Yeah, my name is Juliana. I'm Brazilian. At this moment, today, I am living here in Bahia, north of Brazil. I was born in Rio de Janeiro, and I lived working in São Paulo. And then around 8 years, I guess, I came to start here, look after this farm. Here is a cacao farm which is alive since 1855. My family came here in 1855 when Portugal was colonizing Brazil. My parents come from Portugal. Then they came to here for discover and develop the land. I am the 6th generation of this farm, and the landscape, it's a really beautiful one, because here on this area, we have around Mata Atlântica rainforest, a lot of cocoa farms here. And we work in a system, agroforest system, which we call Cabruca. Cabruca system, it's a really friendly for the nature, because the impact is too low. When we have Cabruca, means you have forest, Mata Atlântica rainforest, and beside some different trees from the Mata Atlântica rainforest, we plant cacao tree. Means we have kind of cacao forest, chocolate forest. And inside here, as we have the biggest biodiversity around the world, it's Mata Atlântica rainforest, it's not Amazonia. We have, yes, a lot of ways to protect, for helping NGOs, for protecting, and even for making research about flora and fauna, about animals and the plants. What I can say, and we, as cacao, it's facing since the 80s. Cacao is facing a very large tragedy because one virus came into the culture, cacao culture, and made a very tragic, deep problem.
So the virus did a lot of harm to the cocoa fruit.
Sorry?
The virus did a lot of harm to the cocoa fruit.
The cocoa culture here, Bahia was the second main export from cocoa plants around the world. Mm-hmm. And suddenly we became important. Yeah, export, import. Yeah. End of export cacao, we stopped because we didn't have cacao anymore. And then we start buying cacao from outside. And then at that time, I was still living in São Paulo, Rio de Janeiro. And since 2014, I came here to try to keep having the farm alive. The farm was completely in a bad condition. And when I came here, I thought, wow, how can I survive with this? How can we do? I met Markus. I was already learning by doing about cacao, about nature, about Mata Atlântica rainforest, because those topics were pretty far from my really real life. And I was already thinking to make a tourism here, sustainable tourism, but I was not expert. Even today, I'm not expert, but learning by doing. And I guess I got already good amount of information, and Markus could help me very much because he is a traveler person. He knows very much, and he helped me very much with the tourism topic here. Because living only with cacao, it's not possible anymore. Mm-hmm. Or I guess we can. I am trying to improve the production, but it's too low, the result.
And Juliana, can you be so kind and tell me now, how do you balance now the sustainable tourism and the cocoa farming, and how important is it to have different sources of income?
When we think about live only by cacao income, it's not really possible anymore, or so far. Mainly now because we are facing such a difficult moment about the climate changing, and today we don't know when it's really winter, summer. This year, for example, for us, the summer was nearly winter. Mm-hmm. Now we are hoping to have a warmer winter for helping with the cacao production, Because when we have only cold weather, no sun, raining, the cacao doesn't develop very well. And to really be able for keep having the farm alive, I choose the tourism because it's not possible anymore living without other kind of income.
And how can the tourists explore the cocoa farm, and how can they be involved in it?
Yeah, we work as much as we can as sustainable behave. And we work very much with the kind of adventure tourism, because we are always trying to involve in the community into the attractives. For example, we have a tour which the tourism can sail the boat through the cacao, through the Almada River, reach the waterfalls, come to a very nice lake, and instead of think about, oh, I will have to buy one boat, I have to order one person to make this for me. No, then I think, well, I will have to looking for one person from the community for helping here. Then I am helping him, the tourism is helping him, and we are making a very beautiful partnership. It's the way which we try as much as we can to really get more people from the community to become involved and getting better, results.
Okay, so the whole community is involved, the local community is involved in your local project. And I think also the tourists, you have also workshop, I think, where the tourists can experience how to make their own chocolate. Is that right?
Yeah, we offer here the chocolate day. Okay, it's a kind of treat bar, because the tourism can come through the cabruca, the cacao agroforest system, with one worker from the area. Normally, they don't speak English, they don't speak other language as Portuguese. But we try, when somebody wants to have one guide, we can look after one guide to become by themselves. Or when I am on the farm, or even Markus, when we are always trying to help each other to make to make the experience as nicer as can become. And you can come through the cacao field. We can understand about cacao harvest, cacao field. You can even try one cacao inside the cabruca. And then the next step is bringing people for knowing a little bit more about fermentation, why. And then we bring them to the last place where we lay down the cacao beans for getting dry. And then after everything, after they know a little bit more about cacao, the harvest, they are getting more experience about this, they can make their own chocolate.
Okay. So the guests can relax at your beautiful place. They can do a lot of activities. They can learn how to make chocolate. Yes, and I think you have 150 hectares where you produce cacao. Thanks, Juliana. My next question, please, Markus. I would like to know from you, how can tourism contribute to protect the Mata Atlantica, the Atlantic rainforests, and how do you create a win-win situation for the travelers as well as for the rainforest?
All right, can you hear me, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so first of all, hello, and thank you, Juliana, for starting this. Basically, there's a lot we can do, and I would like to start not directly with your question, to keep a little bit with the pictures I've prepared, because I think everything what we do today is because we made some kind of experience in our life, and as you mentioned before, my life experience are based mostly because I was able to travel. I was really in a lucky situation. I could see a lot of the world as a photographer, and one of my most traveled places in the world was the Amazon rainforest, which is my favorite place. So I'm really happy to live with my wife also in a tropical rainforest. So I saw all the beauty of these amazing places. And over the years, of course, we also saw what humans do to these places. And I think I don't tell you anything new if I say that the humans are really devastating the planet. We are really on a point of our existence where we should really rethink where we want to go, because if we don't, there will be no future. So what I have learned is we have to use what we have in a way that to give it a value to people, you know, and when things are very far away, on pictures, people might say it looks beautiful, but they are not connected with. And I think a connection, an emotional connection, is very important. And when I came first about 11 years ago, first time to the Mata Atlantica rainforest, I was completely blown away by its beauty. You know, as we said, we only have 8% left, and even these 8% are little patches, which are here a little bit and there a little bit. There are not many places like on this picture where you really find big stuff on of rainforest. And when I came to Juliana's farm, I don't even thought I come to a wilderness place, because I thought, okay, it's a farm, but it's much more than a farm. It is nature which people use without destroying. And this is the fascinating thing, which I think should be a kind of an idea in our minds, not only in this Mata Atlantica cacao idea. It should be in general that we are using nature. We are not locking it away and say, okay, we cannot go in, but we can use it without destroying. And I not only fell in love with Juliana because she's the best, she is also representing a system of growing food which is working in a good way, because the farm is not destroying the forest. Everywhere around the cacao coast, where you see where the Mata Atlantica was, and they don't produce cacao, the trees are gone because there are the cows now. So producing the cacao saved the trees. And what I think is for the tourism is to get there, to learn, to feel. For example, when I first stand in front of a tree like this, without a bark, it's not a dead tree, it's a living tree. But these trees are not existent anymore. Most of them are gone. But when we see something is there and it's special, it's vulnerable, then people start to feel and think like, wow, we have to do something. Well, of course, yeah.
Sorry, we just see the first slide.
Whole time? Yeah. I showed you already 20 pictures.
No.
Okay. That's when you talk and talk and talk and you don't see what. Okay, let me just Okay. Bildschirm freigeben. Chunk. Do you see it now?
Yeah, I see the second picture now, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm not talking everything again, but I show you the pictures and you can remember what I said.
Yeah.
So we talked about the destruction. And yeah, I think learning by connecting. And I was really blown away by learning about Mata Atlantica, about its beauty, you know. And when I saw how less is there and how special it is, it really it affects you and it makes you think like, okay, I have to get involved in something. And this is why I'm so happy with Juliana's project, keeping this farm alive. Bringing tourists to this place is a kind of a bringing people to a living school, you know, because and they learn from life. You know, you don't have to become an activist. Well, I became one because I thought it's necessary. But every eco-tourism project on the world, if it's small or big, helps people to understand, and the people will go back differently. You know, they will not be the same person before when they came. And we have one very big attraction, which of course is a gem for the farm and the connection, the area itself. This is the reason why I came as a photographer to Almada when I met Juliana, is because we have inside the cacao cabruca system, we have these monkeys, and the golden lion-headed tamarins. They are endemic for the area. They only live in this place. And I came to visit them, to take pictures of them, to show in my programs that they are getting extinct when we don't act. And because of these monkeys, I know my wife. So this is a pretty nice story. And basically, when you have an ecotourism system, where you can tell people, okay, what do we have? We have history. We have the colonial Portuguese history. We have actual the cacao production, which is sustainable, and we have a rich nature, which is so full of wonders. If you mix all this together, I think you can attract people. And I always hope we can attract more, because we are not a tourism site. That's really true. But what does it make with the people, and why should it help besides the farm? Of course, every tourist helps us, but every tourist who comes to us is a message spreader. He will spread the message. And I think I became an activist because I was traveling, I was feeling, I was suffering. And I think this is when you have experienced it, change your mind and you will become active. And maybe the last part I have here, what we do, and I think many programs, small or big ones, try nowadays, beside using nature in a sustainable way, is to restore nature. It is possible. It's a hard work. It's a lot of work to get the money and to fight with the state, with the stupid rules and stuff. But it's possible. For example, we made this little NGO here at the Cacao Coast, AMAP, which is buying land from farms which are broken, and we are replanting. It sounds pretty easy. It is a hell of a work, and it's really hard, and it's a lifetime project. But I think most of the activists, young or old, that I know, they are activists because of traveling, because they went out in the world and they looked. And we are always confronted in how can you still travel in times of climate catastrophe? Of course, we have to, but not to go shopping to Barcelona. We have to see the world to understand the world. And this makes different people from us. This, for example, was a volunteer group where we started the whole project. And I know 4 or 5 people, I'm still in contact with them, young people who are today really, on Instagram or on other channels, they become activists. They are spreading the messages. And I think this is pretty cool. And this is what nature needs. We need more people who are active. And for sure, for myself, it's food for my soul to go and see that nature can recover. I worked a lot in the Amazon, saw burning forest more than I can ever understand. And as a kind of healing, it's good to have this. And this is maybe the last point, it's not only helping nature, it helps the people. As Juliana said on the farm, when she says she's not buying a boat, she's renting the boat from the community for the trip. With the project, we do the same. You know, nowadays we have 12 or maybe 14 families working in a sustainable work. You know, they are not cutting trees anymore. They are not putting cows on a field. They are helping in this way. And I think as more people are doing this, as better. And it's in the end, it's not a one big thing saving humanity. It's millions on millions of little projects like ours, which will hopefully shift to a sustainable future.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Markus. Yes, I think we all have to change our the way we are traveling, and if we travel to a place like to Brazil to stay really long, yeah. Okay, my last question to you guys is, Markus and Juliana, we would like to know, do you have mostly guests who are international, also domestic guests from Brazil, and how and do Brazilians appreciate your offer and your sustainable project?
Can I start, Markus? Yeah, it's a pretty interesting question and an interesting answer, because I started having more Brazilian people here since we started working with the Airbnb. And during the pandemic, while they would work at home, people were looking for places like here, very peaceful place with a lot of nature around and Wi-Fi. And before, I had nearly no Brazilian here. And it's interesting because the people which the guests from Brazil which came here, sometimes they were not really understanding. Here it's more experience, it's more adventure than classical tourism. Sometimes I had this kind of uncomfortable. Yeah, we don't have air conditioner, we don't have television. It's more for Botox. But I have this kind of really feeling, and was my experience. German people, we had a lot of people from Germany, mostly because Markus is activist and he has his multimedia shows, and he could always talk a little bit about Almada, and people were coming from his shows and accepting very much this kind of experience. I don't know if I would need for trying to find out people who really, Brazilian people who really want to make this kind of experience, to come here, to be inside the nature, you know, to see the snakes around and enjoying. Yeah, but I guess the Brazilian people now are coming more and more, mostly because we have now Airbnb.
Okay, so when I understand this right, so Corona was the first step, and now they always return and come back because they experienced the beauty, and yeah, no television and no like back to the roots. Okay, yeah. Markus, do you want to add something?
Yeah, basically, as Juliana said, we are not a hotel. You know, it's not. It's an ecotourism project. You go on a farm. It's like you go on a Bauernhof in Germany in the 1960s. You know, it's in the tropical rainforest. You know, I guess we have everything you can dream about. You know, we have swimming pools by the forest. We have not a too humid, not a too hot climate, but of course we have mosquitoes sometimes in the evening, and every 2 months, second month, there's a big, how do you call in English, a Vogelspinnen, the big spiders, and the chance to see them is very slow, but sometimes you see them, and so there are people who like it, and there are people who say, I would never go to a place like this. You know, this is kind of, you know, people who have no connection with nature, and they know they don't like it, should not come. But people who want to get in connection with nature, they should come, because they will get in connection. Now, this is, and we don't have television, which I'm really grateful, but we have, of course, internet, and in my way, everything we need for surviving and for having a beautiful time.
And do you see, for example, like you mentioned, when people come to your place, do you see how they change their mind? For example, they, like I said, first when they see the spider and they say, "Oh, a spider," and then when they're gone, they say, "Okay, it's a spider." They are not freaked out or so. Do you think maybe? Do you think that? Your place change maybe a little bit the personality of the visitors, like they get involved in, and they worship more, you know, how the cacao production and everything. Do you think they will, when they go back to their place, they also maybe change a bit their behavior of consume?
Well, that's what we can hope.
I guess it's a way for helping a little bit, open a little bit the mind, you know. And we face this kind of situation very often. And it's nice when we can bring people a little bit more close, you know. It's okay. Let's breathe. Let's make it beautiful. And I guess it's a very big task as well for us to bring more connection, to help in this kind of connection, because we are missing.
Okay.
But there's one thing I can maybe finally say about myself. I came as a tourist to the farm, and when I fell in love with Juliana, and I was allowed to come back and come back and come back, I guess from the beginning, when you go through the gate and you are inside this system, which you have nearly no cars, you have donkeys with cacao on the back, you have quietness around, as long as there's no party on the other side of the river, you have quietness. You just come into a different world. It's just like you are 150 years earlier, you know, and this brings you, all the rest of the world is going very far away, and this is healsome, you know. It's really, and I have heard this from many people, that they come here and next day everything sorrows and everything is very far away. Of course, everybody has to go out of this bubble again, but the farm is a universe in itself.
Okay. Yes, I would like to know, what are the obstacles to start an ecosystem project like this? Was it always clear that you started, or did it come by the time, the direction you're going?
You mean the farm or the
touristic place? Was it always clear that you want to rented and all the things you're doing, or did it came step by step? And yes, and what were the obstacles in general to when you first were your main focus was on cacao production, and then also to get sustainable tourism? Yes, what were the obstacles you had to deal with?
Juliana?
I don't know. I'm not sure if I could understand the whole question.
I can start. I can start.
Please.
It is not a one day to next day decision to say, okay, let's do ecotourism. But Juliana and I, we have been together for 3-4 years, and we saw the problems we had. And we had to find solutions. And then we have, how do you get solutions? It's not from Monday to Wednesday. These are processes which sometimes go months, years, even decades. And for us, the biggest decision was, what do we do with our main attraction, the big house, the nearly 200-year-old guest house, because it was falling apart. And Juliana and I, we are both not rich. And how do you renovate? We had to renovate it. Yes or no? Renovate, no means the farm goes down. Renovate, yes. Yes, we have a chance to keep it going because we can attract guests. So we had to make a financiation. We had to get a lot of money, which we didn't have, and we will work until the end of our life to keep it alive. So the whole process is a decision for life, and it will be still the decisions for our children to keep going or not going. You know, when you paint a house today in January, in October you can paint it again because we are in the tropics. It's a never-ending process, and you're dedicated or you lose.
Yeah, it's a never-ending process, and Almada's farm becomes, it's inside the history. Brazilian cocoa history, Almada is inside very much. And means I can't only think about income. I have to think about to keep this the architecture alive, for example, the history of alive. It really sad when you come through the different farms. They are old as Almada, but they don't have the historic view anymore. It's different. It's easier for them break down everything and rebuild a new stuff. And it's really difficult for the environment here around, because it's really wet, warm, you know, everything. It's easier to breaking down.
Okay.
And it's really, wow. It's historic stuff we have to keep alive.
And what I also would like to know is, how long do your guests stay at your place? Do they stay for a week or 2, or maybe just a few days? So in general?
Actually, we work around with around three tribal agencies, and from each tribal agency we make the script, and some scripts we have for 3 days. The other one we have for 15 days.
Oh, so long term.
Yeah, with Ilona, we work with 15 days. Yeah, and we can build a script. Then depends about how many days you want to come to us, and you'd like to have each day one different attraction, and we can organize
Mm-hmm.
the
Okay.
attractions
Mm.
and their day in life here with us.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and like you said, the whole community is involved. Do you also have employees, or do you mostly run the farm by yourself, or do you also have some employees who help you by cooking, cleaning, etc.?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's necessary.
Yeah. Okay.
For the tourism attraction for the house, it's around 3 women and workers for cleaning the farm, cutting grass, cutting trees, making the
Okay.
work. We really have to, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And for cacao, for example, then we have 4 employees and 7 partners.
Okay, thank you. And I think they're all from the region who live very close by your place.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we are almost at the end. Then I would like to say thank you very much again for taking the time, for introducing your lifetime project to us who live far away. Yes, and to so we all can experience a little bit that, of course, not everything is perfect there. Because of the humidity and everything, we as Europeans, we always think, Brazil, when the weather is warm and it's hot, it's so nice, it's so cool. But of course, there are other things we don't think about it. So I really would like to say thank you. And I wish you all the best for the future. A lot of guests, yes, and yeah, would you like to say something else in the end? Please feel free.
I want to say thank you for listening to us, and maybe one day our paths cross under a tree in the Mata Atlantica rainforest.